Ladies and gentlemen, hello to episode number 4 of Cyber Talks. Today we have Amy No, Director of Strategic Accounts with Prestige Staffing in United States of America. Amy, could you tell us what is it that Prestige Staffing does?
Prestige Staffing is a staffing company that comes from a standpoint of talent advisory. We place contractors as well as full-time people. We also have a nearshore operation as well as an MSP for our clients. We've been around 25 years. I head up the cyber division of recruiting for Prestige, and my role is to pick up strategic accounts, provide business solutions for clients, as well as cyber recruiting. I do that myself as well. So we are, your standard staffing firm. However, our specialization in the different areas of cyber, technology, finance and accounting, and healthcare makes us stand out among other agencies.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. Normally, when a client hires you, the client hires you to solve a specific problem, a specific challenge, a specific pain point. What pain points are you dealing with for your clients? Can you tell us about that? Why the clients hire you?
I absolutely can. There are so many candidates on the market right now. From all the layoffs, we've seen tech layoffs in droves, so many tech layoffs, so many good people and great talent out there. However, we're dealing with an extreme volume of candidates. And as we've seen recently, there are folks using AI for resumes. There are fake candidates that are doing deep fakes to actually get into companies. And so every job that's posted out there, if a company posts a job, it's getting like 1,000 applicants in a very short amount of time, like a 24-hour period. And what I'm seeing is my clients cannot get through and cannot handle the volume of candidates' resumes that are out there. They can't tell which person is qualified as opposed to which person is not. And so from my standpoint, I can go through that volume incredibly quickly. I'm specialized on cybersecurity. I know all the different roles that are out there, and my teams are specialized in cybersecurity too. So we can get through that volume incredibly quickly. And that's one of the biggest things and biggest advantages that I see in working with a specialized cybersecurity recruiting operation.
Yeah, I really like that you say this because currently there are so many candidates on the market. It's almost like the companies, they have difficulties choosing. And you said before this nice, there is a needle in a haystack, and currently
Right. So there's, to find cyber talent and tech talent in general, it used to be finding a needle in a haystack. But now, since there's so many great candidates on the market, and then we have the deep fakes and people that make up the resume. So there's so many different things out there. So it's like finding a needle in a needle stack to find talent. And I tell clients that you have a business problem. I want to provide a solution. What's a big pain point? I just can't get through all the applicants that we have, and I can't decipher, and HR and internal recruiting can't decipher if these people are real and good or not. So using an external cybersecurity focused recruiter can really shorten that process and get to folks that wouldn't typically be considered for roles.
That's a value added of a person who knows what they are doing. It is that they know what they are doing, and they're able to tell who's legit and who's not. Sorry, I burst out laughing earlier, but it's unimaginable to me that people are using AI and deepfakes in order to get through recruitment. How big of a problem this is, Amy?
This is a huge problem now. This is a huge problem. There are the deepfakes. People are using deepfakes. There's been several situations where even very big Fortune 500 companies have hired people that are from North Korea that aren't real people. It's
Oh.
becoming a major issue because you want to solve, you're a client, you're a hiring manager. You want to solve a business problem. You want to get the best fit in there.
Mm.
You talk to a person, you can't tell if they're fake or not. You know, it's, and managers aren't thinking about that. They're just listening to, okay, this person sounds great. And people have actually gone through the entire hiring process, including Zoom interviews, that they've done multiple Zoom interviews with this client and done a full interview process. They get hired only to find out that your program is compromised. And now you have somebody that is from North Korea, infiltrating your data. And
We
it's
don't want that.
incredibly frightening. And you know what? I tell clients that, you know, you go external, you have a specialized recruiter, specialized group of cyber recruiters, then you're going to alleviate. We're risk averse. We look for all the problems with somebody. So we dig into it a lot more than, say, in a talent acquisition or HR person would do, because they don't know and realize the magnitude. And think about going through the entire hiring process, right? And then finding out that the person you hired is somebody that can't be trusted and infiltrates your system their day one. It is frightening out there. So that's one of the other things that I talk with clients about to get that business and work with them on an external basis.
One of the weird tricks that I've heard of is you ask the candidate to sort of move their hand in front of the face and then behind, because the AI somehow at this stage, it cannot replicate it. And you, I mean, it can, but you see that something's wrong, and that it's not a real person. That's one of the weird things, but
super weird. But you know what? If you're an internal recruiter or HR person, you're going through trying to get through those candidates. You will miss things. I mean, I'm not perfect. I've missed things too.
No one
and
is.
You know what I do? I schedule a couple of more Zoom meetings to figure it out. But internally, maybe those folks don't have time. They're trying to get through those thousands of resumes. And it makes it so hard for cyber candidates that are awesome to find positions right now. I feel for them so badly, because it's just so difficult to stand out among all of the noise that's there in the market.
Yeah. So when a company is in trouble and you have the solution, do the people from the company reach out to you, or do you have to find them and reach out to them? How is it, Amy?
Both. You have to constantly follow up with folks, not in a pushy way, but you just have to be organized and follow up with them. The longer the position remains open, the bigger the business problem becomes. If you don't have a cyber person in there to protect the data and protect the information, that is a huge business problem, and you can lose a tremendous amount of money. So I find I have people reach out to me for sure, but I always follow up with folks that I feel are going to come up against those issues because of the volume of candidates and their inability to work with outside external recruiters. That changes after a certain amount of time. Say 6 months goes by, and then it's like when I talk to John, Chief Information Security Officer, he's like, Amy, thank God you called back. You know, it's been open 6 months. Now I can convince my internal folks that we need to work with a specialized agency. So it takes a while, but yes, they do reach out. You just got to be
I think that they've like there is this nice term in risk management, and it describes how big of a risk is the company willing to take. It's called risk appetite. I guess that their pain appetite has been satisfied at this point, and now they are willing to do business with you and prestige staffing.
I love
Uh,
that risk appetite.
risk
I
appetite,
love
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's and people say, there's no true security. There's just risk because you can't secure something fully. I mean, you can think that it is, but it's about the risk that you're
That you are
looking at
securing against.
associated with it. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
totally agree. Amy, I was talking with you before. I
Mhm.
have the same feeling now. I just want to go into 3 different directions with what you told me because it's that interesting. But I just need to stick to one direction.
Okay. We can talk
Okay.
again. It's cool.
Hi. So when you are pitching to clients or when you are talking to your prospects, who your prospects usually are?
Okay, that's a great question. It depends on the size of the company, honestly. From my experience, managers and directors feel the biggest pain point when they're trying to fill a role, because if they don't fill that role, then their program could be at risk. So it's on them. So I usually will try to engage with managers and directors. If it's a very small company and they do not have a security program in place, then I'll talk with the chief information security officer, because there can be one chief information security officer, but no
Yes.
other security people in a tiny company. So, but that's okay. We can build out a program, which I'm doing right now with several different product companies. However, if the company is a huge company, it's a little bit more difficult because you have to prove to that director that he or she should go to bat to be able to find the people that they want. And it takes a while to get them to that point where they'll push it with their higher ups to make things happen. I also speak with CTOs that are building out programs. If it's a smaller company, I'm going for a C-level person. If it's a bigger company, I'm going for manager, senior manager, or director. Sometimes
I
VP.
sometimes VP. Yeah,
Mhm,
I really like that you emphasize that you are building program. You are building program. You are building program. It
mhm.
shows to me that when you are doing things, you are doing them with purpose on your mind. And I think it really pays off for your clients.
Thank
Could you?
you.
I'm a kind person, and I'm also,
Thank
a
you.
normal person.
Yeah.
Could you tell us one success story that that you made your client successful, like on the top
Sure.
of your head?
Okay. Well, I'll talk about the recent situation that I had. I have a
Definitely.
client that is a managed security services provider. Their entire business is based on a security operations center as a service. So
Mhm.
they offer SOC services primarily, security operations services. Their whole business is dependent on having folks in the organization that can run a security program as well as a SOC. So I came in. I spoke with this manager several times. It was actually not a manager. He was the CEO of the company and the president as
Okay.
well, because I was impressed with what they were doing. And then after a time of speaking with them and building that external relationship was incredibly important, talking with them about their business, what they see in the market, what's going on with their customers. So we built a relationship previous to this situation that happened. The president called me on a Saturday afternoon and said, we lost our SVP, our Senior Vice
Mhm.
President of Security Operations, and we feel like we're going to lose several more people. And we posted I posted an ad, and we've had 500 applicants for that job. But we need to move incredibly quickly. Can you help us? So on that Saturday, my team and I went and found the right people for that job. We actually found several people, but we found the right one within those several people. It was only 4 folks, but I placed the senior vice president with that company 2 days later to solve that business problem. The senior vice president that gave notice, he didn't give notice. He just left.
Give notice.
If the company did not have, and it does not have, a senior vice president of security operations, that company can fold. And they didn't have the time to go through these resumes, etc. They thought they would have the time. They wanted to hire that senior vice president 2 months later, but that was not in the cards. They needed somebody right away. So we filled that position working together as a team. And I told him I would, the CISO or the CEO and the president. And we had somebody that we placed that started on Tuesday. This was Saturday. We found this person on Tuesday because I have relationships with candidates. They're as much clients to me as a company client. So building those relationships with cybersecurity candidates at all levels is imperative. So you have people that you can reach out to. So I do. And we did do that. And then after that happened, after we placed that person, 4 people quit. 4 people and went with the other person that left.
Oh,
so then it was like, Amy, oh my goodness, can you and your team help us with finding these people? And we did. We bound together, and within 2 weeks, we had built out that security operations team and program again. And that, I think, speed is a huge advantage, but to have that speed, you have to have that specialization, and you have to have people in your back pocket that you have a relationship with. So it's not one-sided. It's, do I have people that I can call on as great candidates to move quickly? And can I support this client and help them solve this business problem with what I can do with my team?
You know, it's really what you just said, the whole situation that you described, it really plays nicely to when you answered that the first question, why do clients choose to reach out to you or to Prestige Staffing? It's you got what, over 500 CVs. I don't imagine that a person who is not versed in cybersecurity and recruiting would be able to do a good job there. You know, Amy?
Yes, I do know. So that's one of the things that, you know, and again, it's about years of experience and relationship building. That's the biggest thing in cyber recruiting. Cybersecurity candidates are the most risk-averse people in the market. And if they weren't risk averse, they wouldn't probably be good security people. So it's building those relationships. Even if a candidate's a chief information security officer and he doesn't have positions open right now, he gets laid off, I'm going to help that person. He's going to get another job. And I'm a mission-based person. I want to help people, and I want to protect our data in the US and otherwise. So I build those relationships as much as I possibly can, no matter what the situation is, whether I'm going to find somebody a job at that moment or solve a business problem for the client at that moment.
You know, this is again that I mean, it should be obvious because we recruit people. I mean, you recruit people. I try to freelance. I didn't even get my first client, so I shouldn't be saying that I do it as well. But when you recruit people, well, you know, it's like the human component is so important. This cannot be left out. And the other thing, I think it's really great that you take care of the candidates that are not only on the C level, but on the directors level or managers, because one day when they will be on the C level, they will remember you. And, you know, if they reached out to you and you weren't able to help them or didn't want to help them, hypothetically speaking, I'm sure that they will remember that and they'll decide to go with a different agency.
I speak with a security operations analyst, a junior 1-year SOC analyst, the same way I would speak to, say, a manager, a hiring manager. I give equal respect on both sides. So I do have clients that call. There was a situation where I placed this just happened too. I placed a candidate in their first incident response job in 2015. And then that person went on to be a manager. He hired for me at 3 different companies. Now he's at a big cybersecurity product company right now as the CTO. So I followed him and we've been in touch. We're very close. I know his family. I mean, you got to get in it with these people to really be able to understand what they want and deliver for them. So long story short, we've worked together several times. I reached out to him because I saw that they had several jobs that were pretty tough jobs to fill. And then he made an intro to the right person. And, now I'm helping to work that job. So it's all about building relationships and having respect on both sides. I see a lot of cybersecurity recruiters that treat candidates badly, don't get back to them, don't give them feedback. It's frustrating when you have your hopes up and you think that you might be able to get this job and then you don't hear back from a recruiter. I do not do that. At Prestige, we don't do that. I think it's terrible to do that. And you know what? People remember that. They remember it and they won't work with you later if you treat them disrespect. So me as a person, I just would do that anyway. I have respect for everybody as a human being. But I feel like a lot of people don't, and it's cybersecurity recruiting sometimes can be very transactional. I don't work that way. I'm relationship based and trying to solve business problems, and I'm trying to find jobs for cybersecurity candidates that are going to make their life better overall.
Okay, Amy, even though I have more than one question, I'm not really sure if the time constraint will allow us. So let me just go with not one, but 2.
Okay. I'm ready.
So you mentioned market for cybersecurity right now, job market. There is a lot of candidates. My question is it difficult? I mean, we know it's difficult to find the right candidate, but do companies have fair expectations? And at the other hand, do candidates have fair expectation as well? What is your view here?
Companies do have higher expectations right now because they feel like their expectations are very high. There's so many candidates on the market right now that they feel like they can find anybody they want that has a million different skills, but that's not actually the case. My opinion, and this is what I tell hiring managers, if you find somebody that can do the position, that can do the job 60% of the way, the rest is cultural fit. Anybody can learn technology. However, people can't change their personality. The market is, there are so many positions posted out there on the market right now, so many positions and so many candidates. So why is it that in the market looks great, but there's so many candidates out here and you can't put it together to find the right person for your jobs? And you can't, as a candidate, it's hard to find the right position that's going to work for you. So it's a very interesting market right now. The jobs are everywhere. There's so many jobs out there. So if you're a candidate looking for a job, it's like, why can't I find something? There's so many posts out there. The reason why is because I feel like the managers' expectations are so high because there's so many people on the market. They say, we can find anybody we want that has all these qualifications. That's not reality. All right. That's not. But they feel like because there's so many people on the market, they can get all the qualifications they need and they can pay the person less than what's the status quo. What they don't realize is that the market's going to change. It's changing right now. And those people that you brought in and paid a little less for, not a good thing. They're probably going to keep their eyes open. However, back to the market question, there's a lot of positions out there. The expectations are incredibly high because of the volume of candidates that are in the market. The expectations are above and beyond. I even see positions that are posted as entry level, but they need 10 years of experience.
Oh, come on.
What that shows me is that the internal team doesn't understand security and doesn't understand how everything works. If I see a job that's posted that asks for 10 years of experience but says entry level and asks for 25 things that on there that are required skills, I'm not really, I don't really feel comfortable working with that company because I don't know, I feel like they don't know what they need and they're unrealistic in their expectations. So I see that a lot. I see a lot of companies that have jobs reposted every 6 months because they still haven't been able to find people. I see things called ghost posts is what I call it. It's like a post that's out there forever because they're just collecting resumes because the market's good. It's a really weird place right now, but it will get better.
It will. It always does. Amy, when you are working with the client and the client has like let's put it that way, you're working with a client and the client demands that the candidate has 10 years of experience, but you see that you have a couple of good candidates with 5 years of experience, but nobody approaching this threshold. Do you challenge the client? Do you give them insights? What do you do in that situation?
I absolutely do, because the reality is, 1 year in one company can equal 3 to 4 years in another company. Say there's a candidate that's worked at a huge bank and they've been siloed into one group, one area in the program. So they only did incident response, but they didn't do threat hunting. So they're siloed into this one area. However, on the other side, say the person has 3 years, but they've only been in this area. On the other side, there's a candidate that has 1 or 2 years, as an example, but had to put their hands on threat hunting, incident response, pen testing, all the different areas, and the environment moved faster. And it wasn't a big environment, and they had to put their hands on everything. So my response to a company or a manager that says they want 10 years, I do push back and I tell them exactly that. Well, 1 or 2 years could equal 5 years in another company. So I have a gentleman or a woman. I love placing women. I have a gentleman or a woman.
I love talking to women.
Yeah, that has 5 years of experience. However, they've done X, Y, Z in this role, in this capacity. So it's like knowing your candidates and then knowing when to push back. 10 years experience. Security wasn't even around for a long time. So having somebody that has 10 years, I never want to work under the year requirement because of that fact. There's 2 years, 3 years can equal 7 years in another company, 5 years in another company, in terms of experience that's gathered through their role.
I absolutely agree with that. Amy, yesterday, I'm watching the time. That's the last question, even though I would like to ask some more. Yesterday, I've been talking to a senior cybersecurity expert, a manager. So he's been around for almost as long as I'm alive. and what he said was a little bit off-putting because he said that cybersecurity is perceived as a cost by the management, and generally you want to optimize the cost. So the lower you can pay, you will pay less when you can. And I'm always trying to see the value added of cybersecurity. Do you see any added value of what we do, of cybersecurity, that goes beyond you need to do this or you will be fined? You need to do this or cybersecurity criminal will hack into your company.
Yeah.
I know this is difficult.
No.
but I
I
just thought
feel
to ask you that.
No, I feel like, yes, it is looked at as a cost in certain companies. And it depends. Like if it's a company like that's a retail company and they've never been breached, then this is going to be looked at as a cost. If there's a company that, say, Target, that was
Okay.
breached several times,
Yeah.
as well as other things, Target, they do look at security as a premium. They look at security not as a cost, as a necessity. And I feel like most companies, not most, feel like a lot of financial organizations, healthcare organizations, those are the ones that get breached the most. Healthcare do look at it as a cost until they get breached. Then they get breached and they're like, oh my God, now we do need to. So as soon as there's a breach that happens, you'll notice that company hires like crazy because they're like, well, we can't, there's ransomware attacks that happen out there. It can destroy an entire company, can destroy an entire company like that. So they shouldn't look at it as a cost, but some of them do because they're naive and think that it can't happen to them. But it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So they need to not look at it as a cost and look at it as a preventative measure.
I remember when Uber got breached. I think the next day there was like 5 job adverts for senior cybersecurity positions, management roles. It was really hilarious. Amy, I would like to thank you so much for being here, for taking the time. It was lovely to speak with you, and I hope you all the best.
Thank you. And I am here for you if we want to go through more questions. So you just let me know.